What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down Bollinger Bands, right? What are Bollinger Bands and how do you use them? I'm going to share how I use them and how it has helped me in my trading. All right. So, in my trading, I like to look at Bollinger Bands as like a chart within a chart, right? Bollinger Bands has certain levels already ingrained in it, and you're able to see kind of where things are going, right? So without Bollinger Bands, I use the EMAs, right? The 9 and the 21 and the 200, and then I also use the VWAP, right? Now the Bollinger Bands kind of all have all of that inside of the actual indicator when you open it up. And so sometimes I'll use the Bollinger Bands if I'm looking at where stock price, where the level is at that it's gonna go, or if I see a stock that's like testing a certain level, I'll turn on my Bollinger Bands and it'll be right there, and then I'll know not to get in the trade yet. But if it breaks that little level, that tip, then it'll be going lower. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go into the charts and I'm gonna in my trading view and I'm gonna show you the Bollinger Bands and show you how to use it. All right. So let's get it. All right. So right here we have my Bollinger Bands. I had them already on, right? That's what it looks like. But first we're gonna go to indicators and we just type in Bollinger Bands. All right. Bollinger Bands and just click that. All right. And then as you can see, it just popped up. All right. So what you can do is on the length, this is like the what type of moving average do you want to use? Do you want to use your simple? Do you want to use your EMA? Right. I used to use the 20 SMA, but now I use the 21 EMA. So I turned it on to the EMA. And then style, you have the lower, the upper, and the basis, right? So I keep all three of these on as well. And I'm going to show you why. So we click OK, and now we're there. So I'm going to delete this one, and then I'm going to go to mine. We're going to turn it on, okay? So now when we're looking at the Bollinger Bands, these lines right here are kind of like levels, and they are to be respected, all right? So what happens is you're able to spot reversals a little bit better, and also you're able to know where a stock is going, right? So let's go to Carvana. All right. So Carvana this is on the 5-minute chart. Let's go to the 15. All right, perfect. So whenever a stock is getting outside of the Bollinger Bands, there's a good chance that a reversal is coming because it's kind of like overextended. So when I'm on turning on my Bollinger Band, sometimes I'll turn it on real quick because I want to see how far outside of the bands is it. And if I see it, so here's the thing, if I see a stock rejecting off of a level, I have my bands and it's outside of the actual bands, and then like let's say the RSI is high as well, then I know that there's a good chance that the stock can be reversing. Now, when the stock reverses, you could get into a put or a call if it's reversing from the downside. And then where is the stock going to go? Well, I like to look at this line. This is the basis line. This is kind of like your VWAP, right? It separates the top from the bottom. So a lot of times the stock is always trying to come down to the middle right here, right? And because the stock is trying to come down to the middle, then I'll say, okay, my exit may be right here, right? As long as it wasn't just a slight pullback for the stock to go higher, as long as if it was a real reversal, then it's going to come down here and test here. Now, another cool thing about the Bollinger Bands is this is like a range. You could use this as a range. So whenever the stock is outside of this range from on the downside or the upside, then you know, okay, it's not going to be getting overextended forever. So you can start looking at a reversal depending on where the levels are at and things like that, right? And then the other thing is if a stock is below, let's just call this the VWAP. It's the basis line on the indicator, but let's just call this the VWAP, right? So If it's below it, then it's gonna be coming down most likely. And if it's above it, like let's say it breaks above it, then it most likely you can, as long as everything else checks out in your trade, and it's not below any EMAs or anything that you have on your chart, then it could be going up, right? Now, let's say that the stock is above here, above this basis line, and then it's, let's say you're getting the calls right here. I would look at this as like the level as to where the stock could be going to, right? So a lot of times we'll think that a stock, it can't go any further because we don't have like the actual levels mapped out. But with the Bollinger Bands, it does give me a certain level, and a lot of times what I see is the level that it's gonna go to is like somewhere where something is mapped out at, right? And so it makes perfect sense. Like you could look at this as like a resistance level, and you could look at this as a support level. I mean, a support level and a resistance level, right? That's how I look at it as well. So sometimes if I'm in a trade and I see, let's say I'm in this trade right here and I'm in right here, and then I would say, okay, the stock is going to be going up to at least right here to test it, and then I'm going to get out, right? And let's say I'm not in a trade and I'm looking at this right here, and I see that it wicked off of here, it rejected off of this level, and then I see it's coming down and it's already outside of the Bollinger Bands. I may look at a put because I know that, okay, this stock is going to probably reverse and it's going to go from 255 all the way down to 250. And if it breaks below here, then it's going to go lower as well. And it went down to 246, right? So it doesn't matter what the stock is. You'll be able to see this. And another thing is, a lot of times we think that we should get into puts, right? So let's look at this example right here on CrowdStrike. This is what I mean about testing a level. So on this 15-minute time frame, it's right here, right? So it was testing this level, which is like a support level, but it ended up bouncing off of this level, and look where it went. So it went from 397 and it went all the way up to 405, right? And it did that in 10 minutes. I mean, 30 minutes, right? That's 2 candles. So, but it did that after, this is more pre-market, and this is when the market opened. So when the market opened, it came a little bit higher than where it just tested from, and then it blasted off and it went all the way up there, right? So if you would have saw this, that it rejected off of this support level, for lack of better words, and it went up, then you could safely say, okay, I'm going to get into calls and I'm going to ride it to the upside, right? And then you could say I'm going to ride it to the top band. And if it rejects off of that band, I'm getting out. If it goes past it, I know it's going to go a little bit higher, and then I'm going to stay in and then ride it up a little bit more, right? But you don't want to stay in the trade too long outside of the bands, because it's at some point it's going to snap back and it's going to come back to get its equilibrium, right? And if you look at any of the charts right here, you'll be able to see like what's going on. So this is like the VWAP, right? Kind of broke below, rejected off of this level right here that we have charted out, and then boom, it came down, right? But it wasn't down there too long, and then it ended up reversing and it went back in. So it was outside of these bands right here, and then you get in on a reversal, take it from 391, ride it up to 396, make your money and call it a day, right? That's how you want to look at it. And so even right here, it rejected off of this one right here, right, at 396, and then it came all the way down back to 392, but it's still inside the bands, right? So you could have got in on a put right here, wrote it down, and then got out. It didn't come all the way down to this right here, which means that most likely it's going up, because this is a low, but this is a higher low. So when you have a higher low, that's a symbol that things are going to be going to the upside. And as you can see, this is now a higher high. This is a higher low. The next day, it blasts off even higher, right? And so it's outside of the bands right here. So it ends up reversing, but it's still trying to go higher. And then it rejected 3 times off of this top band level right here. And then, 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, it ends up rejecting and falling all the way back down here, right? So no matter what the stock is, these Bollinger Bands are going to do the same thing. And also one reason why I like these Bollinger Bands is it shows you when things are squeezing, right? So this right here is a squeeze. When you see that the stock is like very narrow and is this looks like a little small tunnel right here, that means that a stock is going to be going to have a good move to the upside, or it's going to have a good move to the downside. Now you don't know which direction it's going to go unless you kind of like have your technicals down and you know which direction it's going to go. But this is a squeeze right here. And so, and as you can see, it was a big move here, but then it rejected off of this level, and then it came all the way down, right? So that little $10 move, that could change your life in options. All right, so I like that it does show me squeezes as well, and then those squeezes, they can definitely get you. You could be prepared for what's to come, right? But this, as it was on puts, it was riding this band on inside of it though, so it wasn't outside of it, which means that a reversal wasn't imminent yet. And as you can see, it stayed inside and it kept going down, and then it tried to come up, rejected off this level, and then it came down even more, right? So so that's Bollinger Bands. It helps you with reversals. It helps you when you're in a trade, knowing how to stay in, how to stay out. It helps you with support and resistance levels. Is this testing off this level, or is it going to break through? Right, all those small things. So I hope that helped. If you're not using Bollinger Bands, they are helpful. I like to look at them as like a chart within a chart. So if you want to, go ahead, use it. It is free on TradingView. And if you need help or want to be in a community of trading, be sure to click the description in my below this video, and then join the Prosperity Collective. And we trade every day, we signal, and we help you become a better person inside and out, not just the money. All right. So always remember, get out of your head, get into this world, because your head is a dangerous place to live. And I'm gonna see you guys on the next video. Peace.